Hi everyone, it's Jenny from Jen Skinner Art here. I just want to do a quick little tutorial on how I make my mini books. So I've got a few different styles here. This one is a work in progress and it's made with Uno cards, and then I've covered it with my own gel plate printing. This one is also made with the Uno cards, and I've covered it again with my own papers, and I've included some of my stamps that were part of Dad's collection when he was alive. And then this one is in the style that we're going to make today, and this one is some of my artwork that I did while on holidays. It's a neurographic design, and then it's made a book out of just one sheet of paper. This one, I should mention, this one hasn't got a cover yet. It's up to that point. This one is complete sheet of paper out of a magazine, and then I've painted over all the images except for the last few pages, which is other artists' work that I really liked. It was in the same magazine. So this is the one that we're going to make today. So I'll put those aside. One thing you can use is magazine images, and these magazines come from the Sunshine Coast. Something like this image here is not going to be specific for up, down, or images being reversed. So it's kind of a handy one to work with. This one would be interesting because it's a whole splash of colour, but there is still a face in there. So some of the pages are going to have nose, lips, eyes, etc. So you have to keep that in mind. Old Woman's Weeklies that you can pick up from second-hand stores. This image here would be interesting because you wouldn't see that as a person, but the Frida Kahlo, the Frida images, the Kahlo is what I'm trying to say. The Frida Kahlo images, some of those would be upside down. I mark, and then if you have access to any of the Daphne's diaries, they have gorgeous images, so anything like this would work out really well. This one too, even though it's got some words, it would be. This was the last page that I thought would make a great one. So we'd be ignoring this side. So I'm actually going to pull that one out. We'll do something with that. I'll pull my clips off. So the only issue that I see with this one is that it's very monochromatic. However, when it's folded up as a small book, because it's got this white design element of a heart, you wouldn't see it as a heart, but you could actually colour in those little leaf shapes or petal shapes, and you would end up with a really nice design. So that one is also great. The other thing you can do is use old artwork. So this is where there's been leftover paint on my palette. I've smudged this piece of paper around on top of it and scrap on the back, and using something that is one-sided to begin with is the easiest way to go. So we might actually start on that together. I have another piece. You can see this one's been bent up, but the same kind of thing. It's just been a sprayed off piece of paper. It's not useful for anything. In fact, I could trim it down and make a smaller square book. I might even do that. I'll get rid of the bends. But right now let's start. Very simple folding process, a little bit like origami. You can start with a rectangle or a square, and it doesn't matter whether you're folding it portrait style like this or landscape. So I'm just going to flip it over, and the first thing I'm going to do is match my edges, and I'm going to fold it down. I'm just looking for, this will do. So excuse me. It's a good idea if you fold both ways with each fold. So fold it in half this way and then fold it in half the other. Now we're going to fold to the middle line and make sure that we crease it well. And fold to the middle line. The only thing that will be a little bit tricky with this particular piece of paper is some of the paint is very thick, so it's going to want to crack and not fold as well. So now I'm just folding back on those same crease lines. Alright, so we've got something that looks like this, and we can crease it again. Now we want to open it up, and we're going to follow the exact same process, but we're going to go in the opposite direction. So fold it in half and fold it again on that same halfway line. Fold to the middle and fold it back on itself. Making sure I've got that one square. Okay, on the other side, fold into the middle and fold back. So now we have lots and lots of fold lines. We're going to start in the middle, and we're going to cut all the way up, 3/4 of the way, and we're going to end up with a big pair of wide leg jeans. Let me show you. So straight up the middle line, and here we go, pair of pants for you. Now we're going to turn our pants upside down. There's our little legs, here's the waist. And now we're going to make some skinny jeans, and we're going from the bottom all the way up 3/4. So we're not going to cut that last little bit. That's sort of going to be the waistband of our skinny jeans now. So I'm going to make another pair of skinny jeans here, following my fold line 3/4 of the way up till I've got my waistband. So now we actually have 3 pairs of skinny jeans. One, and then we've got our upside down one, and then we've got another one. And alright, so now we're going to start on the left hand pair of skinny jeans on the left leg, and we're going to fold what would be the cuff up, and then we go under, over. Now we're going to fold the whole piece under that side. Now we're going to fold towards us and back and forward and back, then away from us, under, forward, under the last bit of the waistband, forward towards us, back, forward, and you have just made your first book. Alright, so now what we're going to do is glue our book together. So this piece here is going to end up going onto the cover, so we can ignore that one. So So let's just open it up, put some glue on the inside, close it. Whoops. Now we open it up, put some glue, close it, and we look for the next opening. Here we go, here's another opening. Put plenty of glue on. This can get a little bit confusing if you're using a magazine image and you've got pictures on both sides. So you can get stuck, like which ones am I meant to be gluing? Here we go. But using artwork where one side is no image that you're interested in, it makes it a lot easier to know where you're going to put the glue. As you're doing it, it's important to try and get your spine nice and flat. And if we've done it correctly, we should now have all our pages, whoops, glued together. So I've got one, it's still concertinaing. So I've missed one somehow. Put the glue on. All right, keep going. Great. Now, when you're doing it, you will sometimes find that you've slipped a little bit, and although you might think you've got the spine lined up nice and evenly, you'll find that these edges are a little bit uneven. So what I do with that, and be careful if you're a student doing this, I find one of these boards incredibly helpful, and I line my spine up on one of the horizontal lines with one end of the book just peeping over one of the lines. All right. Now, if you have one of these rulers that have the cork on the back, they're better for non-slip. Keeping my fingers right out of the way. I'm using a firm pressure but not too hard, because you're better off to do lots and lots of cuts than you are to try and cut it all in one go and mess things up. You can tear the pages easily. So now I'm going to go over to this side. I've lined my spine up, top edge. I do find it easier to trim going from the spine down to where the book opens. It just stops any of the pieces of paper catching, but you might find it doesn't matter. So now I've got this trimmed top and bottom. And if I want to, because I've noticed that the front pages are not perfectly lined up, which means my spine's not perfectly lined up, I didn't spend enough time making sure that it was, all my pages are glued together, so I can in fact trim that. But if I decide to trim it, I wouldn't trim it just now. I would go on to the next step, and that is gluing a little bit of tissue paper or toilet paper, this it actually is, along my spine. So I can just tear off what's not glued on. I like using tissue paper or toilet paper, and there's two layers here because it's not too thick and it won't show up when I put the cover on. So now I've got my spine all attached. If I want to, I can retrim a little bit here that I see is out of line, and this front edge is actually pretty good on this book. It doesn't need trimming, but I could trim that now. I think the only thing I'd trim is this little edge. So I'll just show you. You can use your glue stick again, or if you want to, you can use slightly runnier, like a PVA, or in this case I've got a little bit of Ultra Craft glue. I'm not going to need all of the toilet paper, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a slightly runnier glue, so it will take a bit longer to dry. I'm going to put a little bit along the spine, and then I'm going to wrap that around onto the front and the back, and then I'm going to sit it on the toilet paper or the tissue paper, and I'm just going to attach it like that. Make sure that I've rubbed it in. Don't use the finger that's got glue on it, because you'll just rip everything. And then I'm going to put my little clips on, and I'm just going to let it dry. And probably ready. This is the one we glued earlier, so I can just tear off that excess toilet paper or tissue, whatever you, just something that's absorbent so that the glue's going to go right through it. Alrighty, so I'm ready to do a cover on this one and do my artwork. Great. I'll have to choose some paper now. This one's all in purples and blues, so I might have to go back through my magazines and see what I've got. I had a few bits of cardboard that's off I think a candle box, but I don't really want those together. Yeah, I'll have a look through my stash and see what I've got. That's another coffee cup. Alright, I found this gift bag. So it is going to become the cover for these little mini books. It's quite arty, it's in itself. I usually keep the ribbons, so I'll just cut that bit off. Might want to use it like that. Got this little one too, which looks like it's going to fit on that end. So I'll take a photo when I've finished them all, but these are all going to end up being cut out of this. So this one I've started the decorating, so this is front or back, haven't decided yet, and these are the artworks inside, and I've started with some paint pen markers decorating the inside of these, and my aim with this particular one was to use the same strokes using the same pen but put them in a different position on each of the pages, so the pages are going to come out slightly differently but all cohesive. So this coffee cup wrapper worked out really well. The gift bag has made beautiful covers. So this one I've started with the paint pens because I wanted some of this green and blue to come in onto the pinks and purples of the pages. And you'll notice with both this one and this one that I've already coloured all the way around the outside edges of the pages. Sometimes, like with this one, I like to do it gold like you see in the old style books, so this one's all been done in gold. Alright, So I'll do a little bit more on one of these books, and then I will probably upload to YouTube. If you're on Instagram, I'll put up some images of the books finished.